So last week in Infinite Warfare there were two new weapons added into the game, called the X-EON and the VPR, which were leaked I believe around 3 weeks before they got added in, and they were actually called the AR-VR 46 and the Hades. So these were also leaked with a few other guns. So there was the mini LMG, which is like a mini gun essentially, kind of like the Death Machine from Black Ops, the original one. It looked semi-finished, probably in its like medium sort of development phase. There was also another gun called the MP28, which is similar to the MP18 with a stand. So that's, I don't know, I think it'll be pretty good. I think, you know, getting another SMG isn't something we can really complain about, and obviously getting an LMG isn't something we can complain about either, so I think it's pretty good. They'll probably come next month with the next drop, so you know they seem to be doing it every month, so if they do a drop next month that'll probably be the guns that get added in. But with the new gun being added in last week, there was also, they were leaked again, or there was more guns leaked. So basically they do this by data mining the game on PC, and it got posted on Reddit, that's how I know. But I'll try to link it down in the description or something like that, and post if I can find it. But basically the minigun has an, well, they've got all their variants now, but the epic variant of the minigun turns it into Kimbo LMGs, so kind of like the XMGs from AW, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Bit of a shame you have to get the epic variant of it though, but I think, you know, if you do get it, it'll be pretty unique and it'll be pretty cool to use. The MP28 also, its epic variant has a grenade launcher built into it, so like an unpowered grenade launcher, so that's going to be pretty interesting. It's similar to the OSA, I suppose. But yeah, I think the last time we saw an SMG have a grenade launcher was AW with the AMR9, so the Pro Pipe, I think it was. I think there was like a rare one instead of something, or endless, no, professional one with it, but that's besides the point. So there was also two other weapons leaked, which were the Barrett 50 cal, which doesn't actually have a model, it's just the KPS long bow without a sight, so it's very early development. And the Model 2187s, which is basically a Model 1887s, but it's got 3 barrels and it's futuristic. So they're both very early in development. They'll probably be in 2 drops time, so in 2 months time, so after the next drop. So yeah, that's about it. So we'll get into the review. So we'll start with the VPR. The VPR is the SMG that was added in. I might call it the Hades throughout this because I know it is the Hades, but basically the VPR has 2 barrels and 2 magazines. The barrel mechanism basically makes it shoot 2 barrels whenever, makes it shoot 2 bullets when you shoot 1. So if you press on the trigger and it shoots 1 bullet, it actually shoots 2. So the reticle for hipfire also represents this, and it actually spreads apart, so the bullets can only fire horizontally. So the spread of this weapon is actually horizontal instead of all around like a box, like every other gun in the game. Apart from the X-EON, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think the VPR is a pretty unique gun in the sense that it's got 2 barrels and also 2 mags, but it's not like the Karma in the sense that if you reload the Karma and reload like halfway through the animation, which is really, because the Karma has 2 mags in it, so if you reload 1 mag, it reloads half the ammo, but the Hades doesn't work like that, so keep that in mind, which is a bit bad, but they might change that in the future, who knows. But I think the gun's pretty good at close range, sort of in Genesis or Frontier. On longer maps, or kind of medium to long range, it's terrible. Long range, don't even attempt it. At medium range, you can try, but it's got a good bit of recoil and you'll be outgunned by every gun in the game. So I'd recommend staying at sort of close range and really using the gun in front of your Genesis. You might manage in some other maps in the game, maybe like you could try on the likes of, what's this terminal maybe? Throwback, Frost, those are the ones really jump to the mind, but yeah, that's really where you can use the gun. But the gun itself apparently looks like a Borderlands gun. I haven't played Borderlands, but I've seen a picture and I didn't see the resemblance. So if I can find a picture, I'll put it up on screen. But yeah, that's the VPR essentially. The variants for both of these guns really don't change the guns that much, even the epic variants. So for example, the VPR's epic variant changes it so it's got an integrated silencer. Of course the gun model changes, but it's got an integrated silencer which hides where an enemy died. So of course you're getting a free attachment, which is a silencer, and it also doesn't reveal when people die, which usually when someone dies in your team you'll see a weak skull and crossbones. With this gun, if they die you can just see that. So I suppose, you know, it's better than the base variant, but it's not like something crazy like it turns into the claw, or it's got 3 barrels, or it's got infinite ammo. You know, it's not something like that. It's as simple as free silencer. So yeah, it's not too crazy, but that's the VPR essentially. Move on to the X-EON. So this is the AR that was added in, and it's unique as well, similar to the, well, not similar to the VPR, but basically the hipfire is different, which I suppose is similar to the VPR, but it's got a very tight hipfire spread. Similar, I suppose, some people compare it to CSGO or like Soldier 76's weapon in Overwatch, in the sense that it's very accurate when you're hipfiring. It's not like pinpoint accurate when you're hipfiring. You can't aim with like a dot, like reticle in the middle of your screen. You know, it's a circle. It's a circular reticle, so it can land anywhere in that circle. But it's the most accurate hipfire in the game, so keep that in mind. It's very useful. It's also the opposite of the MP4 Chaos in the sense that it shoots slower when you're hipfiring and shoots faster when you're ADSing, which is the opposite of Chaos, which shoots faster when you're hipfiring and slower when you're ADSing. So it's very useful. I quite enjoy using the gun. It's got a custom sort of red dot / Trojan sight built into it, so instead of having a normal iron sight, it's got a red dot which outlines enemies. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It also flips up whenever you ADS, and when you're hip-firing it's flipped down, so it's pretty cool. I really enjoy using the gun. It's actually from the campaign, as we from the factory there. It's from the campaign and it's actually a virtual reality gun, which is the reason it's called VR AR-46. It's seen in campaign by people on the spaceship where you select missions called Retribution, and it's used by people using VR headsets and training themselves and for testing weapons in the VR firing range. So yeah, that's that basically. It's an energy weapon, so it doesn't penetrate walls, it bounces off of walls. Personally, I prefer the VPR just because I don't know, I like SMGs better than ARs, I suppose, but I'd say out of the two the X-EON's better. I haven't used X-EON as much as the VPR, so you know, keep that in mind. But basically, I'd say if you don't have the season pass, I highly recommend unlocking these guns. If you've got the season pass, you get them straight away, so go ahead and use them. But the challenges for these two guns, I believe, are for the VPR. I think it is get at least 1 kill with the X-EON in 15 games. I'll try to get it up on the screen. But that's a challenge for the VPR, and with the X-EON it's get 6 kills in a single match with different, I think it's like 15 games you have to win. But you have to win 15 games. So I recommend playing gun game for that. So that's about it, really. Two guns are relatively good. The X-EON is perfect. I think it's right where it should be. If anything, it should get a slight nerf to its fire rate, but I think it's pretty good where it is and it doesn't really need a nerf. The VPR is probably due a buff to sort of nerf the amount of recoil it has, so it should get less recoil is what I'm saying, because at medium range it isn't good, and long range it isn't good either. At close range it's only really valuable, and I personally like the VPR kind of because it's a challenge and because I really like the dual barrel sort of things it's got going on. So I don't know, I really enjoy using the weapons. Hopefully you find this review helpful. I know it's not the best, I know you could go on some big YouTuber channel and find a better one, but I kind of just wanted to make this because I enjoy playing Infinite Warfare, obviously, new weapons, want to make a video on it, and I'm trying to improve my commentary. Only way Obviously the only way I'm going to improve my commentary is by doing more commentaries, so I'm going to force myself to do more of them. Next week I should be doing next week I should be doing a Diamond IR video, if I get Diamond IRs that is, and yeah, that's about that. So hopefully you enjoyed this review, hopefully you found it useful. If you did, please consider liking the video and even consider subscribing, and just thanks for watching, see you in the next one.